Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Push with Nick and KP. We are back once again to bring you a weekly recap, this time of Monday Night Raw. This was the Fallout episode from SummerSlam, which took place in Des Moines, Iowa on August 3rd. We kick off this show of Raw with the same person that closed out SummerSlam with a successful title defense. That is, of course, the World Heavyweight Champion, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. The OTC comes out and says that since the Rumble, he has accomplished everything he said he was going to. Some words about Seth and Seth freaking Rollins' country didn't exactly go over well, but Roman allowed them to sing his song. Then joins LA Knight, much to the crowd's delight. LA Knight acknowledges his Tribal Chief and says he was wrong about him and that he could win without the help of the bloodline. Roman is able to do it on his own, and that seemed to impress LA Knight, but not happy with how that rolled out. LA says he wants a shot like Seth did, and Seth got a match that is without the rest of the bloodline, so he has a fair shot as well, as clearly that's not what happened last time. Roman asks LA Knight what he has done lately to deserve a title shot. Looks in the camera and says this goes to everyone in the back. Bitching and moaning doesn't get you a title shot. Although I'd beg to differ on that one. That clearly has worked for many, many people. But with all due respect to the OTC, of course. LA Knight cuts a hell of a promo here and tells Roman when he grows a pair to give him a call, essentially calling his shot is the megastar. This is a great promo and something I think a lot of people really wanted to see. Props to the Des Moines crowd here. They were hot throughout the contest or throughout the card, and this opening segment was a great start to that. The first match of the evening has Javon Evans going up against Ethan Page. This is yet another good contest between these two. As I've said it before, and I'm sure I'll say it again, these two have really good chemistry. Javon is able to get the win over Ethan, but his celebrations are short-lived as he's immediately attacked by a returning Big Cass after 8 years. Why Javon, though, I guess we'll have to wait and see. I was never a huge fan of Cass from an in-ring perspective, but he looks incredible here. So, yeah, curious to see what he can bring to the company this time around. Our next segment of the evening has the Women of the Judgment Day come out in the middle of the ring, showing off their championship titles. Liv reminds us that she's the greatest women's champion of all time, while congratulating Raquel as well on her new title. This all before we get our next match, which has Roxanne Perez going up against Sol Ruca. This is a good back and forth while it lasts. Of course, it involves the Judgment Day, though, so it has interferences that eventually sees Liv grab Sol, and this match ends in a DQ. After the match, however, things get a little more heated as the Judgment Day hands out finishers to Sol Ruca until Becky Lynch comes to put her opinion on Liv out in the open. So I think it's been about 2 months since she's been around, raising some really good points about Liv, how she has become a glorified valet, and she's returned to make sure that it's not another 100 days before she has to defend that title again. Again, valid points being made there. It's clearly WWE sees how we see the women's division, in particular Liv, but generally just the women's division in general. As if that wasn't enough for Liv to worry about, as Judgment Day is making their way back up the ramp, we see a returning Stephanie Vaquer. After Vaquer takes care of the Judgment Day, we get a face-to-face with Stephanie and Becky, who seem to both think they've got next. So again, another great segment here with some very welcomed returns, and yeah, has me excited and looking forward to the women's division. And it's been a while since I've said that. So props to WWE, props to Brawl for quickly taking advantage of some things that needed to be fixed on this Fallout episode of SummerSlam. Our next segment of the evening sees the King of the Ring, Oba Femi, make his way down to the ring. Oba says he respects the Beast and pays his respect to him, while saying that he will be lighting the way for the new generation going forward. And if anyone has a problem with that, they will answer to the ruler, Oba Femi. This is a simple promo, but Oba makes everything feel important and on a bigger, grander stage. As Oba heads to the back, he comes face to face with Braun Breaker. Perhaps the matchup we'll see sooner rather than later, but clearly both men have big plans for the future. This leads to the next match of the evening, which has previously mentioned Braun Breaker of the Division going up against Joe Hendry. Braun couldn't care less about Joe Hendry in the ring, and I think Hendry did find offense to that. He takes out Theory outside of the ring, and then once he gets back into the ring, eats a spear and a pen from Braun Breaker, who clearly still was only worried about the ruler. The next segment of the evening sees our new Intercontinental Champion Chad Gable make his way down to the ring. Chants of "You Deserve It" are met with Chad telling us he wants to thank the fans for always believing and Penta for being the epitome of a fighting champion. Penta then joins Chad in the ring and returns the thanks until the men of the Judgment Day take offense to the Sap Fest, I believe it was called, going on in the ring and declare that they are done playing around. This leads to a 2-on-2 match with Penta, Chad Gable going up against Dominic and JD McDonough. This is a really fun matchup, as you might expect, with the talents involved here. This is a Dom then tries to use the ring hammer like old times, but Chad catches him and removes it. Penta then uses his former IC title to hit Dom, and then Chad uses a Chaos Theory to get the win for him and Penta. Regardless of the outcome here, though, this was a fun match and ecstatic to see the Judgment Day move on from Danhausen. Hopefully, it stays that way. The next match of the evening sees Jacob Fatu go up against Royce Keys in a street fight for the main event of Raw. This, of course, stemming from the earlier in the evening segment where the OTC reminds everyone in the bloodline that we're the only family and that everyone else around are just the boys. These two do not mess around. Tables, chairs, kendo sticks. Making good use of the stipulation is Fatu and Keys. Fatu acting like that werewolf we saw when we first saw him debut about a year or so ago. As mentioned by commentary, if he does this to someone who used to be his friend and or family, what would he do to everyone else? Fatu goes for blood here and gets it, as we see Royce bleeding from the mouth after Fatu forces the ref to call the match after using the tongue and death grip. Clearly a statement here by Fatu as he locks a chair around Key's neck and yeah, he actually does come in contact with him in the corner of the ring. So pretty brutal spot there. And clearly this was a statement to the Tribal Chief from Jacob Fatu. And speaking of the Tribal Chief, he does come out after the match and simply nods in approval as he raises his one to the sky. Um, yeah, at least that appeared to be the end of the show. But as Roman is making his way back to Gorilla, he runs into Rey Mysterio, who asks Roman if he knows that he is the AAA GM, and he doesn't. He says, "Nah, I guess now I do." And then Rey says, "Let me run an idea by you." So a very interesting ending there on top of what we already saw in the ring. But yeah, overall, this was an action-packed Raw with tons of returns. Obviously, Vaquer, Becky Lynch, and Big Cass, and new directions for storylines coming out of SummerSlam. Like I said, the Judgment Day appearing to have their stories kind of changing tides here, which is great to see. Both the men and the women, for that matter, and then some more serious tones being taken with the Bloodline, and then that Breaker and Obafemi tease. Like I said, I think it's only a matter of time before we get that matchup. So one of my favorite things about a big PLE is that coming out of it, you get to see, you have the potential to see kind of a fresh storyline, fresh matchups, and this Raw obviously did a great job of capitalizing on that. So this was the best Raw I think we've seen in a while. I'd probably give this one an 8 out of 10. This is a really fun and fresh episode of Raw. Some good in-ring contest as well. So enough from us over here at The Push. What did you make of this episode of Raw? We'd love to hear from you in the comments below. As always, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you like what we're putting out here. Until next time, this has been The Push with Nick and KP. We'll see you soon. Take care.